we have our selection. Now, if you accidentally deselect, which is actually a really easy thing to do, if you accidentally, click away from your selection or something and you go, oh, shoot, there goes my selection. I worked so hard to create that selection. Well, don't forget, we have the history panel, and the history panel has been watching what we've been doing all the way along, right? Again, you might need to head to the window menu and look for history. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to step one state back, one history step back in time to get rid of that deselect, and that brings my marching ants back. Okay, so if you accidentally deselect, you can always retrieve it. Now, in this exercise, I want to explain floating selections, and I also want to explain moving and duplicating as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom all the way out on my image. I'm going to hit Control or Command 0 on my keyboard. There's my tiny little selection. Now, this is going to be the iris of our eye. And what I want to do is I want to move this object over onto this, I don't even know what this is, some kind of a metal. It's almost cylindrical. It's probably about ½ an inch deep. And what I want to do is I want to move the iris over top of this object here to give ourselves sort of this eyeball effect. Okay? So what I'm going to do is actually, you know what, for yourselves, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see a little bit more clearly exactly what I'm going to do here. So what I want to do is I want to take this rusty washer and move him over top of the eye here, the eyeball. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Move tool from my toolbox. I'm just going to tap the V key on my keyboard, and that flips me over. Now I have the Move tool. Notice that the Move tool cursor changes slightly when I move over top of the washer. Notice a tiny pair of scissors appears beside the Move tool when I'm over top of the washer, right? So that indicates that I'm about to take this object and cut it off of its background if I were to click and drag, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to click and drag this guy over, something like this. Now, notice a couple of things here. First of all, as I'm dragging here, notice that the center area of my washer is knocked out. There's a hole in it. Again, that's because you and I subtracted out that part of the object, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy over top of the washer. Notice I'm also getting that heads-up display message appearing as I'm dragging around here. So maybe I wind up with, maybe something like that, right? Now, what's very important to note here is that as I'm dragging around here, we have what's called a floating selection, right? So I still have marching ants. And while I still have marching ants, that means that I can continually move this object around until I get it sitting exactly where I want it on the object beneath it. As soon as I deselect, as soon as I get rid of the marching ants, then this washer is going to be locked on top of the objects beneath it. So right now we're still, let's call this in editing mode. How's that? But then as soon as I go select and then deselect, I can no longer grab this washer and move it around. As a matter of fact, if I try, I get this warning here, could not move or could not use the Move tool, sorry, because the layer is locked. The layer is locked. What are they talking about? I'm just trying to move a washer, right? Well, it actually ties into the Layers panel, which we'll discuss a little bit later on. So just be careful there. While we have a selection, it's floating. Imagine it floating on top of your image. As soon as you deselect, then it flattens. It gets locked down onto your image. So just be careful of that. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to select the entire thing and move them over onto the right-hand side of our screen. And I'll also show you how to duplicate objects as well. Let's go and check that out.